Group is being serious. A small bit of the enormous upgrade they are working on was just shown. However, that is merely scratching the surface. The crypto industry completely lost its mind just today. With hundreds of millions of dollars, BlackRock and other major companies joined in. Furthermore, SHIBA stands to gain the most from the cryptocurrency market as a whole. However, what is really occurring, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. Allow me to clarify. Important notice. Even though everyone is still rejoicing over BlackRock's recent triumph over Grayscale, a cryptocurrency that some users refer to as the crypto evil, a new issue has emerged today. For the uninitiated, daily inflows of millions of dollars into Bitcoin ETFs offered by BlackRock and other firms began shortly after the first Bitcoin ETF received approval. A lot of people were hoping this was the beginning of a huge bull run. The bull run was excluded, specifically for Bitcoin, but for all cryptocurrencies in general. I understand now. This enthusiasm is due to a very straightforward cause. A daily influx of hundreds of millions began streaming into these Bitcoin ETFs. Just days after the ETF was approved. The entry of such a large sum of money demonstrated the confidence and cash that large investors were finally putting into the cryptocurrency market. By their side, it's very similar to a tiny farmer's market where sellers typically accept modest amounts of payment from locals in exchange for their produce. As soon as they notice trucks, and not just any trucks, pulling up, although with mountains of wealth, all that cash is waiting to be spent in these vehicles. Something major is happening according to the farmers because of this unexpected infusion of funds. Similarly, many saw the hundreds of millions of dollars pouring into Bitcoin ETFs as a sign that something big was about to happen, as large sums of money are expected to flood the market, potentially leading to a dramatic increase in the value of cryptocurrencies. Prices. Here, though, an issue has arisen. Grayscale was one of the participants who has substantial Bitcoin holdings prior to the ETF's approval. I don't understand where it came from, though. They amassed quite a bit over the years since. As a reminder, they were an early provider of Bitcoin trusts for investment purposes, while BlackRock and others were. Grayscale had a mountain of Bitcoin in its reserves, and they were just getting started. Grayscale stunned everyone by unloading right as excitement peaked, and Bitcoin influx skyrocketed. Bitcoin valued at hundreds of millions of dollars daily. Several crashes were caused by this. Institutional investors like BlackRock were quick to purchase Bitcoin, but it was some time before that investment paid off in the form of a higher price. This was due to the fact that Grayscale's heavy selling pressure capped Bitcoin's ascent. They too were trapped, since many other cryptocurrencies mimic Bitcoin's strategy. Still, Bitcoin's bulls remained relentless, and the price surged to new records over $70,000. Even though most cryptocurrencies mimic Bitcoin's actions, one sticks out due to its unusual nature. A crypto that is extremely vulnerable to the most significant cryptocurrencies in the world is the Shiba Inu. The joy is doubled when Shiba Inu goes even higher when Bitcoin heads up. However, Shiba Inu's value takes a bigger hit when Bitcoin's price falls. Not long after that, it reached a new all-time high, and the price of Shiba Inu jumped threefold in a matter of days. A portion of the population is still rejoicing in the memory of this monumental occasion, despite the fact that it had transpired 3 months ago. The excitement, however, has subsided after 3 months. After large price increases, the market sometimes has a cooling down period. Consequently, we are no longer concentrating on that particular issue. The approval of the Ethereum ETF came as a complete surprise only 1 week ago. Since trading has not yet begun, the crypto market has not been significantly affected, but the anticipation and guesswork are building. What transpired with Bitcoin following the approval of its ETF in January is reminiscent of this scenario. Daily transactions totaling hundreds of millions of dollars caused Bitcoin's value to soar to new records. The Shiba Inu community stands out among others when it comes to the enthusiasm and conjecture around the Ethereum ETF. Looking back, they're asking, will the Ethereum ETF cause the Shiba Inu price to skyrocket like the Bitcoin ETF? That is an interesting question. Things start to get intriguing at this point. Many thought the Ethereum ETF would have a far greater and more immediate impact than it really did. Digital currency. They had anticipated noticeable results within a few months, for the simple reason that no major participant will be prepared to dump a ton of Ethereum into the market the second the ETF trading begins. Unlike Grayscale, everything shifted, though, today. This became widely publicized today, even though it was already known. The amount of Ethereum held by Grayscale is also substantial. Some are even furious at how this information has startled them. Why? Because they've come to terms with the fact that Grayscale has the ability to inject an Ethereum flood into the market, much like Bitcoin did, reducing the potential for dramatic price spikes and, as previously, triggering market crashes. But let's do some analysis to obtain a better idea of what might happen next before we draw any conclusions. An almost one-third increase in the value of Ether occurred in the days preceding the approval of the Ethereum ETF, but concerns over Grayscale's Ethereum Trust began to be a major factor shortly after the actual acceptance. A key participant in the market, this trust oversees an enormous $11 billion worth of Ethereum. Now things start to become interesting. Despite large inflows, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has seen substantial outflows in the last several months. Fears of a recurrent scenario have investors on edge. Within a month of spot Bitcoin ETFs receiving approval, Grayscale Bitcoin saw a massive $6.5 billion drain, or 23% of its AUM. If past trends continue, Kiko Research predicts that Grayscale Ethereum could experience daily average outflows of $110 million. We can see what the future holds for the cryptocurrency industry thanks to this analysis, which elucidates the possible effects of Grayscale's engagement. Similar to what happened with Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, Tony Mateos, co-founder of an Ethereum-focused platform, anticipates substantial withdrawals from Grayscale's Ethereum Trust. But he does mention one major distinction between the two. Grayscale owned around $30 billion worth of Bitcoin, or $1.5 billion in total, when the spot Bitcoin intests were authorized. However, Grayscale's holdings of Ethereum amount to a meager $11 billion, or just 2.2% of the market cap. Although fewer outflows are anticipated, Mateos posits that the ETF's impact could be proportionally bigger due to Grayscale Ethereum's lesser market share. Bear in mind that Mateos is still hopeful regarding. He thinks the Ethereum ETF might follow a similar pattern as Bitcoin, where price drops occurred after the ETF's approval, but then prices started to rise again. Potentially driving prices higher in the long term is the steady flow of capital caused by the adoption of ETFs. Mateos adds that the Ethereum ETF would entice eco-conscious investors more than the Bitcoin ETF because of Ethereum's benevolence toward the environment. Those of you who have been around for a while as crypto investors might recall the great fuss that surrounded the key distinction between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Concerning energy usage, even Tesla removed Bitcoin from its cars due to its exorbitant energy consumption. One viable option is Ethereum, which offers a more eco-friendly proof-of-stake architecture. This viewpoint has the potential to entice conventional investors who are seeking to match their assets with ESG standards, making Ethereum a tempting alternative for them. Thus, for some, the long-term picture appears bright, despite the fact that Grayscale may begin selling off its massive Ethereum holdings as trading begins. Plus, right now, Shiba Inu developers are getting ready for possible benefits. Announcing the release of their Layer 2 scaling solution was not long ago. Shibarium has reduced the time it takes to build an Ethereum bridge from 7 days to 45 minutes. This solves a problem in Ethereum's ecosystem, which is why it's so important.